So yeah, so that is Diffraction. It's not a mitten, it is a sock. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of that RowRowandKades podcast. My name is Kelly and I am in the northeast of England. I'm a knitter and a knitting designer, so this is a knitting and designing podcast. I will get used to this intro one day. Yeah, so if you are returning, then welcome and thank you very much. And if you are new, then welcome and I hope you enjoy. So I have got a new setup, I've got a new camera, and I've spent about an hour and a half this morning trying to figure out how to use it. So I'm really hoping that I've got this right and that it's not going to go blurry and if it does, I will do it again. I'm not going to do what I did with that episode 3 where I just had to leave it because I do have time now, so I'll just do it again. So I'm going to crack on and start with finished objects for this week. Not a lot, and the two I'm going to show you are probably not actually counted as finished objects, which I say this all the time. So my two finished objects that I have is blanket squares, which is probably cheating, I know, because it's not a finished blanket yet, but we're getting there, and I have nothing else finished to show you. so we're going to start with week 36. So if you're new to the podcast, very quickly you'll need to go back and see the full explanation, but very quickly I am running a 40-week KAL of blanket squares, and at the end of the 40 weeks we will knit them all up and sew them all up, and we'll have a big blanket. It started in January and we are now, I've just released week 37, so I've got 3 to go, and then it's the huge sewing up, which I'm dreading. But means I'll get a snuggly blanket, so it'll be okay. And each week is a different lace. It's like a big lace blanket. So yes, a lot of you already know this, so I'm not going to go into massive detail. But this is week 36. So this was Victorian wallpaper. I'm actually holding that upside down, aren't I? Where I think. That's probably the same way I just held it. It looks like there's a mistake there, that's why I'm like, ooh. And I think that was early on. And I did pull that out and do it again, and it still looks like it's a mistake. So I'm not, that's the way it goes. So I'm not really sure what went on there. It's a bit weird, but yeah, I absolutely love the name of this. The fact that it's called Victorian wallpaper just really made me smile. I just loved it. So I had to do it. It's quite a simple one. But yeah, so that was week 36. And then week 37 was angel lace. So it's this one. So you can kind of see the angel wings and the little heads. It's quite a textured one, this one. It's quite, I don't know if you can see it like that. It's quite raised. No, you can't really tell. But yeah, so that was angel lace, and that's a really pretty one. So yes, 3 weeks to go, not a lot at all now. So there's my 2 finished objects. I don't have anything else this week because I was going to say I haven't had a lot of knitting time, but I have. I've had the same amount of knitting time that I always have. But I've done a lot of designing, which means a lot of frogging. And I've frogged a lot this week. Because I've got a couple of things that I couldn't get right, and I really wanted to get them right. One of them is now right and is finished, but it's not a finished object, which I'll explain in a minute. The other one I'm going to show you and see what you guys think, because I've frogged it a few times now. But we'll get on to that. So that's why I haven't got a lot of progress in much, because I spent a lot of time knitting and then pulling it out again, which is the joy of designing. But there you go. So I'm going to move on to whips. I'm going to class this as a whip because there's only one, and it is socks. So the sock is finished, but I only have one. So last week I showed you my Diffraction sock. So this is my Diffraction sock, and I'm going to pull it off the blocker so you can see the pattern a bit better. So last week I said that, sorry if that was noisy. Last week I said I was going to have the lace running just down one side of the sock, but after I'd finished it, the lace panel was so wide that for the smaller sizes, it just looked like you had a lace panel slightly off centre, and it just didn't look right. So I pulled the sock out to the heel flap and then turned the work a bit so that it wasn't off centre anymore. Centralised the heel flap, which is a partridge heel. See, block my face, it might focus. There you go. So the partridge heel, I flipped it around a little bit, centralised the pattern, and then knitted that again. So that was one of the knitting things I've had to do this week. So this is the Diffraction pattern, which I've got another 2 ideas to work with. I already have a hat and cowl set. I'll pop them up here. I did show them last week, which are in a DK. I thought they were in Aran, but they're not. They're in a DK weight yarn. So these are obviously in a sock yarn. So this yarn is gorgeous. This is the Weaver's Cottage yarn. I haven't got the label with me. It's the Weaver's Cottage yarn. I'll put her link in below. And this is a 2-ply sock yarn, and the colour is Jadeite. It's a high twist, which is my first time using a high twist, and I really like it. And the colours are just, it's kind of like a minty neon. I really like it. So yeah, so that is Diffraction. It's not a mitten, it is a sock. And that is currently in testing. But because I had to pull it all the way out to here and then start again, and I'd already pulled this bit out a few times to get it right and also get the yarn right. I'd used a different yarn that was too variegated and the pattern was just getting swallowed up. All these things have gone on with Diffraction that I've had a little bit of a break from it, and I didn't cast on the second sock. So I am going to cast, I'm not going to be naughty, I am going to cast on the second sock. I have to for photos, there's no point having a photo of just one sock. So that will be getting cast on probably very soon, because I need to get that sock done and get them photographed, because testing is, some people have already finished their socks. So I need to get a move on. So that is my Diffraction socks. Oh, that yarn is, I'm terrible at telling you all the details, aren't I? The yarn is 75% merino and 25% nylon. And like I say, it's a high twist. It is, I've got it here. Yeah, it's a really, really pretty yarn. So there you go. If you were interested in popping along to the Weaver's Cottage on Etsy, she's got lots of lovely yarns. So that's that whip. Then my other whips, just from what I was working on last week. So I showed you that I cast on the little Dino Explorer, which I called something different. I think I called it Little Stegosaur or something. I called it last week because that's what it's called on Ravelry. It's got a different name on Ravelry, but now in my head it's Little Dino Explorer. So this is for Rowan, and I'm doing the 4 to 5 year, so I'm a little bit like, oh, is it going to fit, because he is 5. I haven't got that far because, like I say, most of my knitting time has been spent pulling out socks, but I didn't put a marker in where I was, but I think I was about here, so I've probably done the same sort of work again. The pattern is flat, but I am knitting it in the round because I don't do flat, I hate sewing up. So yeah, this is the back and the side. I'm just hoping it's going to fit in. I've got an awful feeling it's going to be a bit too small, and I've left it too late. I've been meaning to knit him this for years, and I just kept forgetting. So I'm going to try that around him and see before I go any further and make sure it fits. And if it doesn't, I might just extend the pattern and see if I can add some numbers in there and make it a bit bigger for him. But yeah, that's my second width. I'm knitting that in. See, I did it again. Terrible at telling you what I'm using. It's just this James C. Brett double knitting with merino. It's a 70% acrylic, 20% siliconized soft polyamide and 10% merino wool. It's lovely and soft. It's just a workhorse for when kids are out playing, and it can be thrown in the washing machine. They don't have colour names. I think Wool Warehouse have named them now, but they're just like DM, this is DM10, they're all DM something, but it's like a silvery grey. So yeah, I have absolutely loads of this in my stash, which is why I've just thought I'll get that used, and it can be thrown in the washing machine for Rowan, and then he can play with it, play out wearing his dinosaurs jacket. So yeah, I'm gonna have a drink. So my next whip, I feel like I'm flying through. So I've been working on my Assisi shawl by Elise. What's the picture? Sorry if this is rustling. My Assisi shawl is by Elise Ljiko. I'm always uncertain of that surname, and she knows I am, so it's fine. She's known as Frosia Knits. Let's call her Frosia Knits. And I'm using Willow and Lark Ramble for this, which is a DK yarn. Oh god, it's a bit tangly, hang on. It's got hair knitted into it. The joys of long hair. Half of it ends up in your knitting. So I keep joking that my pants are coming along really well. It just looks like bikini bottoms. That's the wrong side that I'm showing you, so that's good, isn't it? So there we go. So this is my Assisi shawl. So it is really hard to fit it on the camera, but it's coming along quite well. There's nearly 200 stitches on there, I think. And it's also Intarsia, and me and Intarsia hate each other's guts. We really, really don't like each other, but this is going really well, so I'm quite happy with that. I did put a little stitch marker in as to where I was last time. I'd done 3 stripes last time, so now what am I on? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stripes, so an extra 4. So yeah, that is going really, really good, and it's a proper, once you've got your head into the pattern and you, like, once you figure out what you need to do, you only need to check the pattern every so many rows, like, and I'm talking like, these are long rows now, so it takes a while, and it's like every 12 rows you might need to check again, so it's good for that. You can just sit and knit and crack on and not have to read the pattern all the time. And yeah, it's quite an intuitive pattern, so you know where you are. So I've been, this is like my Friday night knitting now, where I sit and have a few drinks and everything. So at first I'd made a big mistake with that one, but now it's fine. I can just sit and do that. So it's going along quite nicely. I am using Willow and Lark's Ramble. I've only got a scrappy little bit left of the grey to show you. The rest of it is out there in my stash, but this is that going to focus? My face might be in the way. Hang on. So it doesn't, I don't think it shows up properly on the camera, but it is like a dark grey, but it kind of looks like a blue in the camera to me. I'm not sure, but it's like a dark grey, and it's called Hearth. So that's the main colour, and then my contrasting colour is this. There, that's the right colour there. It's called Country Blue. I was saying it was cornflower blue last week, and it doesn't look anything like a cornflower blue. I don't know why I kept saying that. It's not cornflower. It is Country Blue. It's Willow and Lark Ramble, and that is 100% wool, and it's a superwash. It's lovely and squidgy and warm. Yeah, I'm really enjoying making it, and I'm really gonna enjoy wrapping that around me when the cold kicks in, because at the minute it's still quite warm in the UK, which is very strange. We do get odd weeks of warmth around September and October time, but it still baffles me why it happens. It's just weird. It's supposed to be cold. What are you doing? But we didn't have much of a summer this year. We had a couple of weeks of heat, and that was it. So maybe it's making up for it. I'm just going to have a slip. So that is my Assisi shawl, and that is pretty much my main whips. I've only got 3 main whips. I've got the Diffraction sock I need to get done, the little Dino Explorer cardigan, and the Assisi shawl, and that's it. I haven't really got a lot going on at the minute. I'm kind of concentrating on designing. I've got a secret project coming up, and I think that's playing on my mind because the yarn is out there. I'm not allowed to show you yet. Like, I'm not even allowed to show you the yarn until the 1st of October, and it's playing on my mind because I kind of want to get started. I think I might just start and record bits, and then I can use it later because it's really playing on my mind. So I'm a bit apprehensive to cast anything on, because I know that I've got to work on that, and I've got set dates to get things done, so through October. So I'm definitely a bit like, a bit more apprehensive. So the exciting thing about October, and I know a few of the podcasters that I watch are all joining in with this, and I'm dead excited, is the Stephen West MKAL, his mystery KAL for this year, and it's Shawlography, so it's like the fusion of knitting and shawls and dancing and things. And like, I've never ever done a Stephen West MKAL before. I've never knitted a Stephen West pattern. I think I started Boneyard years ago, one of the first shawls that he did, and then I didn't bother with it. I don't know why. It was no offence to the pattern. I think I just got a bit like, I'm not going to wear a shawl, and I pulled it out. But now I do wear shawls like that where I can wrap them around at winter. So, yeah, that this time around, I'm like really excited about it. I heard everybody talking about it. Normally I don't, but I heard everybody talking about it, and it kind of got me really like, I got FOMO. I got FOMO, fear of missing out. I was like, but I want to be in there. I want to do that. So I did. I decided, right, I'm doing it. So I ordered my yarn. I'd ordered it before my last podcast, and it arrived about a week later, so about last week. So I'm going to show you my colours. Now I've seen some amazing colour combinations and there's some amazing kits, but I couldn't afford one of the kits. The kits are like £100, £90, and that's way out of my budget for a shawl. So I went online and put myself a kit, I suppose, together, and I think it cost me £28, about £30. I'll put all this up in dollars when I figure it out. But yeah, I kept it quite low, and I'm really happy with what I got. I didn't get the exact colours that I wanted. There was one colour that I really wanted and they didn't have it in stock. So, and the yarn at the time was on sale, so I was like and ahhing, like, should I just wait? But then I was like, if I wait and then before that gets in stock, the sale goes off, then it's gonna cost me like nearly double. And I was like, just get it, just pick a different colour. So I went for Cloudborn fibres, and I watched the videos, and Stephen West told us that we needed dark, medium, light, and then pops of colour. So that's what I did. Now, some of them that I've seen are so exciting and so amazing, and mine just is quite tame. But I'm not one for big bright neons and everything, and Stephen West's colours choices sometimes terrify me. I'm like, oh my god, I can't imagine putting those colours together. I'm not really like that. So I stayed in my comfort zone, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have popped myself out there a bit, but I didn't. So I got dark, medium and light. Now I'm a little bit concerned that my medium and my light are very, very similar. But these are my dark, medium and light. So they are quite similar, see? So I'm a bit concerned about that. But because they didn't look like that on the website that I bought them from. But the dark, medium, light. And then my colour pops, I got a mustard. Hang on, how do I do this? It's 5 colours, it's really awkward, isn't it? And I got this blue. Now, the one that I originally wanted was a teal. So this is the one that I had to substitute. It was a really lovely teal, like a darker, more like a greeny. And yeah, I really, really liked it, but I had to just bite the bullet and go. So, but I still like those together. And yeah, my only concern is my medium and my light are very, very similar. But that is my 5 colours, which I've seen people try and show their 5 colours, and it is so awkward. And now I get it. But yeah, I'm going to stick that over there because they look so the same, and I'm really worried about them now. But yeah, on that end it looks better, doesn't it? It does look lighter. But yes, so mine is going to be quite tame, but I'm still very excited. So I got, it is Cloudborn fibres, and it is the Highland Superwash Sock Twist. You get 163 metres, so I've got two of every 2 of each colour. Can't speak anymore. I do need to cake it up, but it's 80% superwash fine Highland wool and 20% polyamide, and you can actually machine wash it, which is with superwash. So yeah, that's how it works, Kelly. So yes, I am really excited for that to start. I'll tell you the colours because I haven't, have I? So this one is Maize Heather. This one is Stormy Skies. And then we have Charcoal Heather. The medium is Shawler heather. Can you see that? Shawler heather. I'm going with Shawler, and taupe heather. So only one of them isn't a heather, but that's okay. So yes, I'm excited. I'm excited for my MKAL. I'm probably never in a million years going to be able to keep up, but I'm going to do my best to keep up. And I have one last thing to show you knitting wise, and that is this work in progress sock. So the wonderful Nina at Enchanted Yarn, a while back now, a good few months ago, which is how I discovered Enchanted Yarn, I won a competition for this yarn. Now she was doing a giveaway, and this was a new dye lot that she'd done, and she was asking people to pick a name for it, and I said Crystal Cove because it's got all these beautiful dual purples and greens, and then it's all this luscious lagoon blue, and she went with Crystal Cove, so I won the ball yarn, and this yarn is called Crystal Cove. I later found out that that's a Scooby-Doo reference, but I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan. So I have had this ball yarn for ages, and I've had an idea in my head for ages to do this design, and it was for socks. I'm going to pop it up here. It was based on my Venetian hat pattern. So I was going to use that triangle diamond interlacing pattern on the whole sock. But when it come to designing it, it's not going to work. I'm really sad, but it's not going to work. It's twisted stitches, so it's like mini cables. Twisted stitches plus colour work makes for a really compact fabric, and to make that work on socks, you're having to cast on so many stitches that then to get the heel and everything to work, it was just no. So I tried, and I tried it with just that running down the side, and it just wasn't happening. So I've given it up reluctantly, but to do the Venetian, because obviously it's two colour, I'd asked Nina to dye me a really subtle yarn that would go with Crystal Cove, and she did, now they're in little mini skeins, so she did me this like a creamy kind of colour. It's got tiny little bits of like a darker cream in there, but it's mainly just a cream yarn, and she called it Just For You because she dyed it just for me. So she sent me that, and I paid for it. She didn't gift it to me or anything. I asked her and she did it for me. So she sent me those, and I was working it with this for Venetian, and it just wasn't, Venetian socks just don't work. Gutted. If you're a designer out there and you can make it work, you crack on, and I'll be very jealous, but I can't make it work. So I was upset, but I really want to do something with these yarns together. So I did a different, I've got a really long tail, I did a different colour work, and I can't remember what happened. It didn't work though, I had to pull it out. I was trying to do just lace with just the Crystal Cove, but it's very variegated, so it kind of swallowed up the lace that I was doing. So then yesterday I sat and I did this. So it's kind of got this, so this is obviously the top of the sock, and it's got these arrow type things going down the side and then down the front. They're also down the back, and then it's just got the laddering dots going up the side. But I don't know. What do you think of it? Would you like socks in that sort of pattern? Is that something that you would wear? I just can't decide if I'm overjoyed with it or not. That's why it's only little. Plus this size isn't going to fit me. I need to figure out my sizing with colour work. I might up the needle size because it's on a 2.25. So I think I might go up to 2.5mm on the colour work and try again. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. So this is another reason why I haven't got a lot of knitting done, because I knitted Venetian, pulled it out, knitted Venetian again, pulled it out. Then I knitted a different colour work, pulled it out. Then I knitted a lace colour work, no, not colour work, a lace pattern, pulled it out, and then I knitted this. So that's where my knitting time has gone. This fortnight, it's gone on socks. So that's it, that's all I've got to show you. Let me know what you think down below. The other thing I've been thinking, I have like a Facebook group that's really, really quiet. There's only like 50 people in there. And I did say that we would have the podcast chat in the Facebook group, but I've realised that, sorry, that's my phone going off. I've realised that not everybody likes Facebook. It's very, very difficult to find a place where everybody would like. I would like a little chat room that is for the podcast where we can all chat about it, and then I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself, even though I answer the comments and everything, and the comments are amazing. It would be nice to have a back and forth proper chat. So I wondered where you would like that to be, and if you're interested in that, obviously. So we could stick to the Facebook, but every week there's no chat. I put the post up and go, there you are, you can chat about it, and nobody chats. So, very quiet. I already have a Ravelry group that is like a ghost town, because since Ravelry did its lovely little flip, I don't bother going in there. I go in there and release my patterns and come out again. But I would go in there if everybody wanted to, if you would prefer Ravelry to be the chat. But I don't want to discriminate against anybody who can't use Ravelry. So I'm not going to do it in Ravelry if there's people who say they can't use Ravelry. I thought about people use Discord. We could open a Discord channel. Or the other place I have is Slack, which is where I run tests, and that's like a forum. So I could open a separate forum in Slack that was for the podcast, and you would just need an invite off me. So if you just asked below for the invite, I could invite you to Slack. So there's all these options. Yeah, what would you like to do? Could you let me know below? And if you're just like, I'm not bothered about chatting about your podcast, then okay. That's fine too. So yes, that's that. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about is some podcasters that I've recently, well, not recently. Some of them I've been watching for a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about them because I never recommend anyone's podcast, which is really terrible because other people recommend podcasters and things. And I would like to recommend a couple of podcasts each week, or each episode, and maybe a couple of designers each episode, which I'm going to have a think about because I think that's a nice thing to do. So there's 3 podcasts this week that I want to tell you about. So the first one is Potter and Bloom, which I've just discovered, and that's Emma. She's a knit and crochet designer as well, and I really like her podcast. She's lots of fun and she makes some really, really lovely things, and she's also British. And yeah, so there's Potter and Bloom. She's got a big following, so she doesn't need me to recommend her. But all of these have got a bigger following than me. But I still want to say, have you seen these guys? So Potter and Bloom, that's one. The next one is Karen over at A Yarn Tale. Really, really like sitting and watching Karen. She makes me giggle, and yeah, she's just lots of fun. I want to be her yarn shop buddy. She's lovely. And then the last one is the BROOKWILLOW knitting podcast, which is Anna, and she's quite new, but she's already got over 1,000 followers, subscribers I should say, not followers. She's doing really well, and she's losing my voice, starting to design a few patterns and things. So she's branching out. Karen from A Yarn Tale doesn't design anything, but she knits some really lovely things, and including little jumpers for her dog, and her dog just sits there modelling them and things like this. So it's lovely. So yeah, those are the three: Potter and Bloom, A Yarn Tale, and the Brookwillow Knitting Podcast. I'll drop their links below and have a little look at them. And then yeah, if you've got any podcasts you'd like to recommend, drop them below so that I can see, because I really I've got into watching the knitting podcasts and really like popping along to new ones and seeing if they're my thing or not. So yeah, and other than that, I think we're done. And that was a lot longer than I expected it to be, actually, because I've had to stop the camera once, and that's 20 minutes. So, and not as long as an hour and a half like last time. I had so much to show you. So hopefully next week I've got a bit more to share with you. But we'll see. Depends how many times I have to pull these socks out. Hopefully no more. And hopefully Diffraction will be done and practically released, I should think, in 2 weeks. I think it should be right on the button of it being released. So yeah, and I know there's a lot of people excited about that, so that's nice. So lovely to see you again, and I'm sure I'm looking in the wrong place because I keep looking at the little flip up thing, and I probably should be looking there, but I'll get used to it, and I hope this has all worked. And yes, I will see you in a couple of weeks.